Hello, and welcome to Captain's Crafting Guide. For Necromancy, this is going to cover beginners as well as veterans. So let me start off by saying there is a huge difference between max passive skill training for Necromancy as well as max armor that actually has Necromancy skill. If you're unable to reach the 120 Necromancy, the 120 experimentation, and at least 20 pips, then you should not be considered a max crafter. But fear not, that is okay. This takes a lot of time to attain. For right now, before beta release, we're at 3 times the normal speed, which means it'll take about 3 months for an average person to get max passives in one crafting profession. With that being said, it is also going to require armor created by a max crafted blacksmith as well as a max crafted rune crafter in order to attain the same levels that I'm about to show you in this video. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into Necromancy itself. I posted the necessary ingredients, which honestly you don't need a lot, but if you want to make this vessel of any quality, you must, and I can't stress it enough, you must have these additives, because you may not think these additives have a lot to give extra, but they really do, because everything adds up. Take for example this video right now that I'm showing you. What I'm going to be doing is I'm assembling 3 different vessels, and I am doing the first steps of each one first so that I may be able to pop a Sappho potion. And what the Sappho potion does is it raises my max cap up to 4 points. Alright, the way that I have this Necromancer already is on an epic vessel, and I'm able to attain 21 pips currently. I could have pushed for 22 before I made this vessel, but it would have required a little bit more and probably would have gone legendary, which I did not want to do since 1 extra pip to me isn't worth it. Now for beginners, you do not want to pop that Sappho potion just because you won't be at this level yet. This is mainly for veterans that are already there and just want a little helpful hints or just kind of just brushing up on their skills. Now, with additives into the components, your multiplier at the very end is 120.8. That's max. Sometimes you will not be able to reach that. Even for myself, I may not be able to reach 120.8%. But the multiplier at the end is going to convert whatever you put in. So let's say that you have 100 points of dex. Well, that 120.8% multiplier is going to enhance that a lot better than 80 dex. And even if you don't think it adds up, it really matters once you hit it with that multiplier. I get very picky with all my crafted gear because I want to first attain the maximum possible, and then I want to create the best possible. And when I do not or cannot reach those levels, I'll stop and wait, or I'll build up the ladder again until I can finally do it. I have seen plenty of people that just don't have the same amount of patience, and that's perfectly okay. I understand. I just am the way I am. So let's go ahead and cover additives. We'll start with eyeballs. You're going to need 2 per head, and the type of eyeballs will make a difference in this vessel. You have 4 different types currently. One is the Hunter's Eye, which is going to boost your final damage modifier half. All this is going to scale with quality, by the way, from green to blue, epic, and legendary. You're also going to have Farsight Eyes, which are called Bowman's Eyes, and that is going to boost the distance that you are able to see objects, nameplates. You will have a Scout's Eye, which is going to boost your perception, meaning you are able to see stealth if you're an Elkin, or if you're running a Mole Hunter, you'll be able to see them a lot further. Last but not least, you have your Master's Eye, which is going to boost your healing modifier cap. Basically, when you're at a certain level, at least a blue vessel, if not higher, you're able to cap out on your healing, and this is going to slightly boost that cap. Next up, you have your hands. Your Bishop hand is going to increase your intellect cap and also give you a small amount of intellect. You have your Brawler's hand, which is going to do the same for strength. You have your Maestro hand, which is going to increase your crafting basics experimentation. And lastly, you have your Rogue's hand, which is going to increase your critical hit damage cap. Now, what that means is, once again, in a higher quality vessel, you will be pushing up to your cap. If you're at 200%, you can increase this cap to 210%, I believe, for legendary hands. You have 6 different options for your Humorous. The first will be Arcanist, which is going to boost the fire damage cap. Then you have your Brigands, which is going to increase your piercing damage cap. Next up is the Gladiator, which is going to increase the slashing damage cap. Next up, you have your Ice Caller, which will increase your ice damage bonus cap. The next is Shield Bearer, which is for crushing damage bonus cap. And last but not least is the Warlocks, which will increase your electricity damage bonus cap. Next, we will go on to Femurs, which your Femurs are going to be 4 different types as of right now. Your Brawlers is going to be for your strength and your strength cap. You have your Escape Artist, which is going to be for your dex and dex cap. You have your Friars for your spirit and spirit cap. And then you have your Lich for your intelligence and intelligence cap. Next up, you're going to have 4 different choices for hearts. You're going to have your Brawlers, which is going to increase your strength. You're going to have Escape Artist Heart to increase your dex, Friar's Heart to increase your spirit, and a Lich Heart to increase your intelligence. Now, this boosts the stats itself, not by a lot. It also is going to scale with quality, but it also increases the cap. The reason why I keep mentioning that they will boost your cap is because, take for example, intellect. Some races, as of right now, are capped at 300, but the hard cap is 350. Now, boosting that intelligence, let's say with some Lego Lich Femurs and Lego Hearts, is because increasing your cap above 300 to try to reach a higher hard cap of 350 is what you're ultimately doing when you combine stuff like this into a vessel. Lastly, we have lungs. Now, lungs are going to be slightly different. Crier's lungs will give you extra stamina, which is pretty important. Howlers will give you a higher spirit and spirit cap. Peasants now will give you an increased harvesting efficiency. And then lastly, the Strider lungs are going to reduce the cost of sprinting, which in PvP I still consider it very important. Now, this concludes the body additives that you are able to put in only with the multi-magnification goggles. And these goggles drop off of chiefs and kings, so you will have to farm mobs in order to get these goggles. I've heard of them dropping off of hunger shards, but I have yet to see any of those drop. I do know that hammers drop off of the hunger shards, but I've yet to see goggles do it. Now, I know this is a lot of information for a bunch of y'all, So please feel free to rewatch, take notes, etc. because I am really forcing a lot down y'all's throats with going so detailed into this. Now keep in mind, this is just for necromancy. The very last additive that you should put into this vessel is a philosopher's stone, and not putting one in my opinion, makes the vessel crap, because that philosopher's stone for a blue is going to be around 18 stat points, which that's a hell of a lot of stats. Definitely when you factor in the multiplier at the end of this vessel. So in case any of y'all don't know what a philosopher's stone is, I will be making another alchemy video pretty soon to cover not only alchemy but poisons, as well as anything else and all types of combinations for philosopher's stones. Now, I said that the blues are going to be around 18%, so please keep in mind that's max crafted at 120.8% with typical blue additives. There's ways of making a blue more potent, but like I said, I'm trying to make these videos for beginners as well as veterans, so I won't be including that much information. Possibly I'll go over it with the next alchemy video, but blues are going to be around 18% max crafted, while epics are going to be around 20%, and finally legendary, which will be around 24%. The reason why I have to go over so much detail is, let's take for example this first vessel that I am creating. I believe my client wanted a human Templar. So I am putting the Spirit Philosopher's Stone in, as well as all the other Spirit additives and Friar additives to boost that Spirit up even higher. Now the base for Spirit is going to be significantly higher than if I put for intelligence or for strength, due to the fact that this is a healer. So with it being a healer, I want this vessel to have as high as possible spirit and intelligence, since the spirit is going to affect its support power and the intelligence is going to affect its healing bonuses. Now I'll put that last pip. I was thinking a little bit into strength just to kind of raise it up since it's still melee, but my client wanted constitution, which is also another good choice, since the constitution is going to slightly boost his con, which will affect his barriers, and since it's a Templar, he has the ultimate and it will be slightly stronger. In my opinion, do what the client wants, because ultimately a happy client is a happy life, right? Now, I'm not sure how many of y'all have actually been paying attention to my crafting methods in this video, but I will always use bond tippers unless I am plumb out, and if I am plumb out, I will wait to craft until I can get some more, because bond tippers are going to help so much. Definitely if you're striving for perfection like myself. Now the rerolls. I will almost always do small rerolls, definitely if it's for a client. If the client is producing the CE, then I will roll as much as he wants me to. Like you see here in this video, that is a flawless human Templar. The reason why it's flawless is because of all the prior steps being either flawless themselves or very close to being flawless. And yes, if you notice, that's Captain Stabbin, which is my prior name before Captain Slashin. If you don't know, you probably don't want to ask. But I've had to change my name for the Twitch and for a better, let's say, search. Now you will also see a Captain Smashin' out there. That is my Alchemist and also my Query account. And please feel free to try to kill me at any time, because I consider that one of the greatest compliments that I can ever get. Because what is gear to me? I'm the crafter. I really don't mind. I would rather test my spec and die 100 times than you seeing me and not trying to kill me out of some weird respect kind of thing. Now back to crafting. I did not go over what body parts to use in certain vessels, just because the knowledge is already there in game. All you have to do is go and look at the necromancy table, select whatever race you're trying to make. Like, let's say a half elf, you're going to need a human head, and the rest is all elven. A centaur is the only one that has an extra body part, which would be the centaur body. You can look all this up at the table instead of me going over each and every single one, just because there's so much information. To try to go over everything, it's going to take too much time, and I've probably already lost half my audience because it sounds more of a lecture than anything else. But for those hardcore crafters out there that want these tips, y'all, please like and comment my videos. Otherwise, what's the point? I will do my best to go over each and every single crafting that is currently in Crowfall, with the exception of Stonemason, since it's technically not in yet. Your feedback is extremely important to me, because I would like to know if I'm wasting my time trying to explain all this or not. This will conclude our new player and advanced crafting guide for necromancy. I hope all of y'all have enjoyed this, and I would much appreciate any feedback. Hit the like button, subscribe, let me know what you think, and also tell me what you want next. Again, thank you for watching. I'd like to wish all my fellow crows and future fellow crows out there a very safe and fun adventure.